Yeah, that is also true. A lot of Japanese advertising, they use a lot of bright colors, a lot of animation that is exaggerating, is larger than life, so that when people look at it, they just find that, oh, it's kind of, it's beyond their imagination. It's some kind of a loud expression. Yes, that's true. Yeah, good. Yeah, very good. Okay. And most Japanese commercials are relatively short. As compared to Thai commercial, we showed you last time, some Thai commercial as long as like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, they're long storytelling type of commercial. But Japanese commercial are relatively shorter, they're less storytelling, and they always like to employ celebrities to do their advertising, and use a lot of cartoons or animation to project the image. So another one is Taiwan. So I'll let you take a look at this Taiwan commercial first, and I'd like you to see what kind of a product they are trying to sell.
搭不成柠檬，日子也要过得有模有样。不管大包小包，能帮我省钱的就是好包。
在明天会更好之前，先把今天过好。
你没有乖吗？
预算是有限的，对美的想象永远无限。
Okay, so this is a series of the same company, the same ads from this. It's a variation of the ads from the same company. So for those of you who do not speak Chinese, you probably do not exactly sure what they are talking about. But from the look and feel, what kind of product do you think that they are trying to sell? Any idea? Okay. This one. Okay. Anyone? Yes.
I think it's for
A bank.
Investment plan.
Investment plan. Okay. Why do you think it's a investment plan for a bank?
Because it's talk about budgets and
Budgets.
and like it's the Chinese there is like the name of the company is like something of investment.
Okay, so you somehow you associate with the bank because of the word budget. Okay, well let's come back to that.
Okay.
Any other thoughts? Yes.
I would probably associate it with like the select choice in Hong Kong.
Select choice in Hong Kong.
It's like the consumers, they can buy relatively cheaper products,
Uh-huh.
but with the same quality. Because in this commercial, they were like they keep on mentioning about economics, like 经济.
Okay.
So it's more about the money, but I'm more towards the way thinking that how to, like, they are promoting if you buy their products, then you can save more money.
Okay, so both of you think that somehow related to money, whether it's a cheaper version or is it because of a bank? Okay, any other thoughts? What are they trying to sell? Yes.
Honestly, I just thought they were trying to sell like a line of bags.
A line of bags? Because.
Wearing like a bag that have the same logo.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you noticed about the bag. Okay, we'll get back to that. Okay, any other thoughts? Yes.
Like our friends who don't know what probably just said on the Chinese, but it looks like they're kind of selling like a lifestyle. Like it has like a peaceful vibe to it.
Okay.
And I feel like they're trying to sell that. Like it's different from like having loud commercials. It's more like peaceful.
Yes. Okay. Actually, you guys are very observant. You are actually to the point, but somehow you didn't get what they are trying to sell. Any other thoughts? You talk about, yeah.
It was like a grocery store or something.
Grocery store? How did you come up with a grocery store here?
We were outside the store and they were holding like carts.
Yeah.
Like first bag, like the bag from the store.
Exactly. You know, this is a supermarket TV commercial. This 全聯福利中心, this the name of the supermarket is PX Mart. So it's just like Costco, just like Walmart, Welcome in Hong Kong. So this is a very low-end supermarket, but see how they are trying to project a type of a stylish lifestyle image. This is very typical in Taiwan. Taiwan use a lot of words, copywriting. When you see the TV execution, they have a lot of words being spoken out, right? So it tries to give you this kind of a very sentimental, highly crafted type of copywriting. And it's like a hipster feel, like a lifestyle approach. And it is positioned as a very relatively like lifestyle type. So as compared to say Welcome Supermarket in Hong Kong or Park and Shop in Hong Kong, they are not projecting this kind of image, right? But it's very typical in Taiwan. These are some of other examples of Taiwan commercials. As you can see, like they are very soft, very maintain feel like it's like very young lifestyle.
我也想一起看。
3、2、1，以前的黑人牙膏就是现在的宝来，清醒仔细，叫我好来。
That's a toothpaste.
为了安稳的未来，为了避免失败，所以
See there,
将
you see a
就。
lot of like copywriting when
但
you
人生可
listen
能
to the
其实不止一
TV
种。
commercial.
全台销售第一亮白牙膏，黑人焕新为好来，满足你专属的亮白需求。谁说人生只能将就？我相信有了自信，就能朝梦想前进。
每天行程一个接一个，从早忙不停，累到快关机。打开白兰氏双认证基金，萃取蛋白质生态精华，战胜疲劳，提神补体力，触发活力秒开机。白兰氏基金。
Okay.
世界充满惊喜，帮宝适。
Okay, so let's move on to the next country, Korea.
跟我唱起，唱起，有理我唱起，就理我唱起，一个马赛克唱起。
참치, 사주사박으로 참치, 샐러드로 참치, 이건 맛을 대 참치.
참치, 볶음밥으로 참치, 샌드위치로 참치, 이건 맛의 대참치.
참치, 미역국으로 참치.
언제까지 이 노래를 부르셈이야.
참치 레시피 모두 오케이. 이건 맛을 대 참치.
동원 참치.
Trailblazer, 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 trailblazer. 새로운 10년의 시작, S20. 당신이 원하던 가장 갤럭시다운 혁신, 갤럭시 S20.
Okay, so out of these three TV commercials, there are some very clear commonalities among these commercials. Can you spot them?
I
Yes.
think the three ads are associated with the K-pop culture.
Yes.
And they all with some like exciting songs and dance.
Very true. Very obvious, right? Very true. All Korean commercials nowadays, they have featured their songs. So they always want to use the songs to influence the other's emotion. Okay, so any other thoughts? Yes.
And I think like for the first two commercials, they're like repeating the name of the product, and I think it's trying to like people remember its name, and if you'll see, oh, this is what appears in the commercial.
Okay, so you mean like it's repetitive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. That first two, yes, yeah. Any other impression that you have from these? Yes.
In the third one, like the Korean one, like everyone in it looks hot, very fashionable, very young, very good looking. Like none of them are old. So,
Yes.
Yes, there is an old guy in the first two advertisements. So I remember.
Yes, very true. A lot of Korean commercials, they like to employ young talents. So they always want to project the energetic, young, fashionable, trendy, and music is always been the key to their commercial. And also one interesting thing that Korean commercial is they use a lot of English words. But for the three that I've shown you, it's not that obvious. But when you watch other Korean commercials, or if you listen to K-pops, many of the name of the K-pop actually is English words, right? so they use a lot of English words in their copywriting or the lyrics and all those. So that kind of give them a more cosmopolitan, more international type of image for the Korean commercial. Okay, this one. This is from the America.
With SodaStream, we could have saved 500 million bottles on game day alone. If you love the bubbles, set them free.
Okay, so we've watched 3 commercials. Okay, So can anyone observe any very interesting characteristics of American commercials?
Yeah, the product they are selling is very prevalent in the
Yes,
ads.
very good. You seldom see those in Thai. You seldom see those in other parts of the world. But in America, they just, as you can see from the HomePod, right? From the iWatch. And all those products that they're selling are very prominent. They are relatively hard selling as compared to the other cultures. How about the others? Any other thoughts? Yes.
I think it's the exaggeration. Going down, but then you made it into like a series.
Okay.
And the rocks on the hitting on the glass screen, but the glass screen didn't grow.
Mm-hmm.
The second was like Coca-Cola is folded by itself.
Mm-hmm.
In order to, like, by using this exaggeration, in order to show that if you have that soda machine, that this would never happen.
Okay, I think you have observed something interesting, but I would rephrase it a little bit. In terms of exaggeration, I would say that the Japanese ones are even more so, in a way that they exaggerate beyond a normal person. I mean, it actually is an animation, is a cartoon or something that is beyond a typical lifestyle of a person. But in the American ones, they exaggerate in a way to, which is still is part of the story, is part of your daily life. Like you compare Pepsi and Coke, right? So in that sense, they try to give you the emphasis of the product that they're trying to sell, rather than the fact that they want to exaggerate. It's just they want to just give you the highlight of the thing that they want to sell to you, which is the unbreakable glass of the iWatch. Okay? But you have mentioned about the second commercial, right? Have you noticed there is something interesting about that commercial that is also very common in the American TV commercials?
Like comparison?
Comparison, yes. Like you for those of you who actually had some exposure in marketing, the very famous term called Pepsi Challenge, have you heard of it? Pepsi Challenge is like Pepsi is trying to challenge the leadership position of Coca-Cola. So they have been rolling out a lot of advertising against Coca-Cola directly. So they have blind tests, they have a lot of different taste tests with their consumers, and they actually broadcasted on the commercial, and that's called Pepsi Challenge. And people nowadays, when they do comparative advertising, which is very common in the US, it's called Pepsi Challenge because it's so common. Like, I mean, people just want to compete with their competitors. But in Hong Kong, you rarely see that, right? You rarely see a commercial, say for example, Welcome Supermarket, joking at Park and Shop, right? Or you rarely see a Hong Kong Telecom BCW ads joking on Smart Tone, right? Because Hong Kong culture or the Chinese culture, they do not do that kind of comparative advertising as frequently as in the US. Okay. How about the UK?
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind.
should be a haven. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. Okay, so anyone have any thoughts on the UK? Yes.
There are way more minimalistic Asian people.
Is what sorry?
Minimalistic, so there is less colors.
Less color?
Not so loud.
Mhm.
And in addition to this, it's kind of hard to understand what this ad is about. I mean, when you look for the first 15 seconds, you still don't understand what it's about. You just try to understand. There is a kind of mystery. In the end, you can see what it's talking about.
Okay. Okay, we'll get back to that one. Any other thoughts? Yes.
Like hardly any talking in the commercial, like any dialogue.
Yeah. Honestly, the look and feel of the American and the British ones are very similar. I think it's because of the cultural similarities, but there are also subtle differences. The British ones are a little bit more sort of elegant type, not as loud as you said, less conversation. It's very relatively subtle in the way, unlike the American ones, like they have exaggerated with and zoom into the screen of the iWatch and etc. So it's more like a very gentle, sort of noble type of an execution. So it tends to be a little bit more soft selling as compared to the American ones, and they rarely have comparative advertising, that for obvious reasons. And they do have a indirect way to tell the story, not as direct. Okay, the last one, maybe let's take a look at the mainland China.
爸妈，这是小陈。
你是哪里毕业？
你住哪里呀？
服务员，服务员！其实他就该这么严格。在滴滴，我们对司机进行。
我放等一下。
这个周末要完成报告，能给加班。
我。很好。
啊，你陪我打高尔夫球啊。
好的。
这是他第一次送我回家，好像时间过得慢一点。喂，爸。
到哪儿了？
快到啦，放心吧。
怎么还没到啊？
快了，快了。
牵挂变成了打扰。在滴滴，我们有一键清。
Okay, so this is the commercials from China. Have you seen, for those who are from China, have you seen that? No? Okay, so what do you think about these commercials? Yes.
I think they tend to use like real life scenarios in order to convey their message, in order to be like more down to earth and gain more like the government from
Yeah,
the
very
audience,
much,
so that
yes.
they would remember their commercial.
Yeah, very down to earth, close to everyday life. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Yes.
There is much more dialogue between characters.
Okay, more speeches. Okay. Yeah, in terms of conversation, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not like Japanese advertisements where they just try to say to user
Okay, yeah. Any other thoughts? Do you find any similarities between the ones you see in Hong Kong versus one in China? Yes.
Some link maybe link to the families.
Link to the families.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting thought. I never thought of that. Yeah, I do see quite a lot of commercials related to families. Yeah, family value. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you have got a point.
I think the first and the third ads show some Chinese traditional stereotype about the first one is about the marriage, like the guy show off his his wealth, like the car, the bank account, and the house, something like that. And the third one is actually the father is waiting her from to back home and to make sure if she is safety or something like that. So
yeah, so it's similar to the points raised earlier, is very everyday life. Like you see them every day, it's part of your culture, it's very down to earth as compared to like the Japanese or the Thai, which are more exaggerating. Yeah, and a lot of times the Chinese commercials are very similar to Hong Kong in the way that because in the past, especially in the past, a lot of the Chinese commercials were actually being made by the Hong Kong advertising agency. And that's why there are so much similarities between the two places. But of course, nowadays, the Chinese local agencies are getting more and more popular, and people are actually working with the local Chinese agencies, and that's why the differences might start to grow more locally flavored, rather than in the past, it's more influenced by the Hong Kong message. So I'm not going to show you the TV commercials in Hong Kong because you are seeing them every day. But Hong Kong used to be the Asia creative hub, and we are actually taking advantage of the high quality production in Hong Kong, and we export our talents to the regions, to Taiwan, to China, etc. But unfortunately, there is not much very typical style as you see in Hong Kong. Like when you see the TV's ads every day in Hong Kong, you don't see a very common style in Hong Kong. Okay, so these are the general sort of impact of culture on advertising. Is there any further comments or any questions you'd like to ask before we move on? Okay, if not, let's move on to advertising agency. As I mentioned earlier in the start of the semester, we talk about this is an introductory course to the world of marketing. And the world of marketing is there are a lot of agencies to help develop the campaigns. There are advertising agencies, there are PR agencies, right? And they form a very important integral part of the marketing world. And advertising agency is very important because they are the creative powerhouse for all the advertising that you see. Okay, so most of the ads that you see on the TV or on YouTube and all those, they are created by the advertising agency. And a lot of times they are called the creative agency because they are the one who create these ads. Okay, there are other media agencies like those. Once you created the ad, you make the production, and then you place on TV or you place on YouTube, and it requires a dedicated or specialized agency for you to place the ads on these channels. But for generally, when we talk about advertising agency, we talk about creative agency. That is the one who create, plan, and execute the advertising. Okay, and a lot of times these brand owners, say for example a company who owns a brand who wants to promote their products, will hire these advertising agency as an outsourcing marketing arm. That is, they don't need a marketing department in their in-house, and then they just outsource that marketing job to an agency. So that's why sometimes advertising agency will actually send staff into the company and work inside the company. So that is what we call the in-house marketing team. The agency work with the company as a business partner. So that it's not a client-agency relationship, but it's also part of the company. Okay. There are a lot of names in the advertising agencies. There are hundreds of advertising agencies in the world. But in fact, when you consolidate these advertising agencies, most of them actually come from 5 groups in the world, although there are hundreds of advertising agencies. These 5 groups are WPP, Omicron, Interpublic, Dentsu. These are the top agencies in Hong Kong, not in Hong Kong, in the world. Okay, so although you are seeing different names like JWT, Ogilvy Mather, Young and Rubicon, they are all from the same company, from the same advertising group called WPP. Is there anyone who can guess why do they need to create so many names, so many companies to run as a separate advertising agency? Can anyone guess? There are hundreds of advertising agencies, but they all belong to the same group. Can anyone guess?
Multi-brand alliance.
Multi-brand alliance. Why do they need to be alliance?
I don't know.
You don't know. Just wild guess. Just wild guess.
Confuse the clients.
Confuse the client. Okay, that's one of the possibilities, but that's not the real reason. Any other thoughts? Yes.
Maybe like with friends for different purposes.
For different purpose, like.
For different fields, for example, some areas they have to be more about for different purposes.
You're close, but not exactly. For different purpose, yes, but not for culture. Yes. Different types of, some are more specialized on digital advertising, some are more general thematic advertising, yes, but not the main reason. There's a very important reason. Different places? No, not really, because JWT can operate in different parts of the world.
Is this something like
Niche
niche marketing?
marketing. Yes, can be a reason, but not the real reason behind. consider advertising. You work with a client, right? You work with a client who has competitor, right? So, can you develop on that?
Oh, so if I have two, brands under mine, brand A can go work for Pepsi, and the other can work for Coca-Cola, even they're wrong.
Exactly. Because they are working with a competitor. Normally, if I have been working with competitor A, ethnically, I should not work with competitor B, right? But realistically, nobody would want to give away their business potential, right? So they would just create another company with a totally different name and pitch for the same category of client. Because especially when you're talking about major industries like banks, insurance, telecoms, airlines, these are very important industries, right? But within these industries, there are a few big names. So you don't want to miss out the big names, right? For example, if I am a WPP group, I'm now working with HSBC, but I always want to pitch for Bank of America or Citibank. I cannot, because I'm already engaged with HSBC. So what they should do is to create another company for Citibank, right? So that is the major reason why they have been creating so many advertising agencies. Just because there are so many brands in the world and they are competing with each other under the same category. Okay? So that's why when you see all these ad agencies' name, you can ask them who is your mother company. So we just refer back to either WPP or Omicron or Interpublic, right? Because they are basically competing as a sort of a major conglomerate in the world. Okay, so that is a very interesting industry dynamics. And in fact, I have invited a guest speaker who is the executive director of the Hong Kong 4A's agency to come to share with us. Hong Kong 4A, have you ever heard of the name HK 4A's? No? Okay. Hong Kong 4A is actually an association of all the advertising agency in Hong Kong that is called Hong Kong 4A's. Okay, so they're basically representing all these big names. Okay, and they are operating in Hong Kong. Is called Hong Kong 4A's, and they have an executive director. Her name is Oni Chu. She will come to share with us 2 weeks later. And she will be telling you a lot more about the sort of the dynamics of the advertising agency, how they compete and how they collaborate in the advertising industry. Okay?
That's right.
Yes.
May I know that if the company is considered an individual advertising company, even they are under the same mother company?
Whether they are individual company?
Yeah, like they are under the same group, but they are competing with their alliance?
Yeah, of course, they are completely separated. Honestly, they always tell you, say for example, give you an example. If I work for Grey Advertising, if I'm HSBC, I work with Grey Advertising. And then suddenly JWT come to pitch my account. I said, wow, isn't that you are from the same group? They would say, yes, but we have a separate firewall between them. Although we sit next to each other, we have a firewall in between. So they will always tell you that. And they operated separately with a separate bottom line, with a separate profit and loss account. So they have two CEOs. They have two CEOs reporting back to the WPP group in London. So yes, theoretically they are separate independent company, but in reality they are actually reporting back to the headquarters. Okay? Yeah, you can ask more about that when Oni comes to share with us. Okay, so probably Oni will share with you more, and I don't want to go too deeply on that. But basically, an advertising agency work with the client by receiving a creative brief. That is, I want to do an advertising. I'm HSBC. I want to launch a new product. So I write a creative brief and send it out to all the agencies in Hong Kong, and they will come back with a creative proposal. And we select the agency based on the merits of the proposal. And this is what we call pitch an account, to pitch for the job. Okay, so like we have more than one agencies, we present our creative, and hopefully the client will pick them. So how do we reward the agencies? There are basically two ways we reward the agencies. First of all, what we call the retainer service. Can anyone tell me what is retainer service? Any thoughts? Retainer. Any wild guess? No? Okay. So retainer means I retain you, I keep you. That is, I keep you for the rest of the year as my advertising partner. So I give you a monthly fee for your service. Okay? So that means even though the agencies are not creating anything, because the fact that you are staying with me for this financial year or the contract year, I will still have to pay you X amount of dollars. Okay, so that you are not going to work with my competitor. Okay, so if I know that this agency is good and I don't want this agency to go to work for my competitor, I will always retain them as a retainer service. Okay, so I sign a contract with you, I pay you monthly fee, and you are supposed to work for me during that year. Okay, you have a comment.
But is that common?
No, honestly. But big company, yes. Because say for example, if HSBC or McDonald's, they have so many campaigns. So although they are not, they don't need to have campaign every day, they basically run it like 12 months a year. So they basically give them a production fee almost every month. So it's almost like a retainer.
Yeah, but yet project-based.
And yeah, mostly it's project-based, but big companies, they will try to use retainer to exclude this agency from working with their competitors. Yeah, you're right. Especially nowadays, the marketing budget is significantly being cut, so they can't afford the kind of retainer. They can't afford the luxury to just bar somebody else from working for the others. So in the past, retainer is more obvious, but recently, because of the marketing dollar cut, project base is more common, I would say. Yeah. Okay, but honestly, if the client relationship is good, although they are on a project based, they still do not want to go to another competitor, because they know that by having this kind of a regular relationship, if you break it just because you want to take another job for a very short period of time, you won't be able to get back to work with your original client. So that's why, although some people are not working on a retainer basis, they are still sort of cautious to use the same agency to pitch for their competitor. So they might as well set up another agency and pitch for the other competitor. Okay? So how do we charge these retainer fee or project fee? So normally they will charge them by the number of hours they spend on your account. Say for example, if it's a retainer fee, how many hours will the group director spend, and account service director, the account manager, and then account executive. Every level has a different charging hourly rate, and they multiply by the number of hours they estimate they will be working on the account, and come up with either the project-based cost or on a retainer basis. And rarely do some clients would be willing to share some of the profit or the sales from the campaign, because normally the campaign is like you help the launch of the product and that's it. So the agency will get paid for the time cost. But some clients who want to incentivize the agency to work harder, they will share a little bit of their profit sales with the agency once they hit a certain level of sales after the launch of the campaign. So this is a typical ad agency. You see there are a few areas that are common in all agencies. There might be difference in size, but the functions will be very similar. First of all is the account service, which is the key here. The account service. The account service is the one who serves the client, who outreach to clients, who will develop more business, who get more accounts into the company. So they are the key driver, the sales part. Okay. The creative part, the creative service is the one who actually come up with the idea, the big idea, the TV commercials, the print advertising, the art-based or copy-based. Art-based meaning graphically it looks interesting, looks funny, looks stunning. Copy-based means he or she is good at writing the lyrics, writing the conversation in the scripts, etc. So it depends on the type of advertising, and then they use the different types of expertise in the creative team. And the last important function is the marketing service. Marketing service is all important because they are the one who help to analyze the needs of the clients. Say for example, if the account service person identify a client, say for example a jewelry company, 招待凤, right? So they will pass on to the marketing team to do the research, to do the media planning, to do a initial study of the brand, and so that when the creative teams come up with the creative, they will be able to test that, oh, this is the insight that we should present to 招待凤, right? So they need somebody to tell them what exactly is the brand looking for, what are the concerns, what are the pain points of 招待凤, so that they would have the inspiration when they come up with the creative of the advertising. Okay, so the three functions are equally important. They serve different functions within the agency. Okay, so these are the, I'll let Oni to show you all these roles and responsibility. We talk about creative and marketing. Okay. These three roles work closely together. The planners, like the marketing team, as I said, they try to understand the brand, like 招待凤 is a brand, right? They try to use research to understand what the brand needs. But as an account manager, because they are the salesperson, so they would, of course, want to sell as much time or as much creative as possible, so they would be more interested in the interest of the agency in terms of profitability. For the creative team, they don't care the others. They don't care the agency. They don't just, all they need to care is how creative can they come up with the idea. How interesting is the idea? So all the three have the different focus, but they should work well together to present one proposal to the client. One last thing to talk about the agency is they always want to tell you that, oh, if you want to do this campaign, you need that kind of budget in terms of advertising, media, in terms of the production cost. They will always tell you that, oh, this will be really interesting when it's being produced, so you need how many X million of dollars for the production. So it's very difficult for the client to just say, oh, okay, I just want a fast but cheap production, but it's in good quality. So as an agency, they will just have to balance between the quality versus the time versus the production cost that the client is making. Okay, so I won't go into detail for the ad agency because I know that only will be covering all these. Okay, I'll let her to tell you more about it. Okay, any thoughts about any further thoughts about advertising agency before we take a short break and then we move on to a new topic? Okay, we will definitely go through the rest of the deck for agency when On is here because she's coming, so I don't want to duplicate the sharing from her. Okay, if not, maybe let's take a very short break, a 10 minutes break, and then we come back. As I said, last week I have circulated the attendance sheets to you, but somehow it was not